Welcome back, GRD132, to our Smuttynose Old Brown Dog label that we're working on, matching fonts. We worked with some slab serif fonts here. You can see how close we didn't get by the overlaps that we see here, but it's not bad. In terms of laying it on top, it's not too bad of what we did. So it looks pretty good. If you took the other one away, you put a color and some graphics, you probably wouldn't know the difference. Most people would not know the difference, but we do. So as long as you know the difference, that's all that matters. And as long as you know the things that are different, like we didn't put the little serif on the top of the W's, and a couple other things were missing. We tried to mess with the L a little bit there. We fixed the E's there, but there's some things that aren't perfect. The center of the O's, the negative space in the O's, is not working out perfectly. But in terms of what we have here, it doesn't look too bad. And let's try to match this BREWING CO. And we'll look at serifs again. We were looking at serifs. We could go to the top. By the way, there's a little button here, return to top. Looking at serifs, and it's still by trending. And I think one of the ones I saw right off the bat, Merriweather doesn't look bad. Now, let's put BREWING CO in there. BREWING CO to match all the letters. So let's go up here, and we only have to have uppercase. And let's go down and check out BREWING CO. The R doesn't look bad. Let's see what the W looks like. W could definitely work, just the way it goes in there. Actually, that works pretty good. Check out the G. It's a little different. The G is a little bit different there. Not quite the same kind of G in Merriweather. The G is more like this, where it's there's just a little spur on the end. It doesn't have a big serif on it, like this one. Not as big. It's kind of almost flat on that end. The E does have serifs in there. That does. So Merriweather's not bad, but it's not quite the one we want. So let's keep looking a little bit. I don't think we're going to have to look that long. Laura isn't bad. That G looks a little better. The C has kind of a barb up top, but not one on the bottom. What does this one have? Barb at the top, not one at the bottom. And we are going to squash it, so that's not bad. So Laura's one that may be possible. Let's go in here. That's not bad. The B is a little different because the top loop of the B is a little narrower than the bottom loop of the B, but most of it looks pretty good. So Laura is probably the top so far, and I'm going to try not to do too many here. That one's not bad, although it doesn't have the serif in there. Noto serif isn't bad. Again, it's so small, it's going to be really hard to tell, but we're going to try to match it as close as possible. And I'm looking for a little kind of barb on the C as I go down here. I'm just looking at that, like this one here. You know, Domini, or whatever that is. That's not too bad, although that G's not right. That's not bad. That's not too bad. Volkhorn's not too bad. Let me look at this a second. Volkhorn's not a bad version there. The R has a little bump on it. The G looks a little better. Let's check out Volkhorn again. The G, the C, doesn't really have the notch on top, but Volkhorn and Laura may work. This one doesn't look bad. Actually, it's kind of thin. It has some thinner parts, but actually those letters look Frank Rule. I don't know. That looks pretty good. The G looks close. Has a little thing in the bottom. Not quite perfect, but I might go with that. It's variable. That means we have a lot of weights. And it looks a little more contrasty than I'd like. But let's go with that. Let's go with Frank Rule. Let's get moving here. We're going to go with Frank Rule. So we're going to type BREWING. So I'm going to click here and type BREWING CO. And right away I'll go down, change it from Rocket to be Frank Rule Libre. Maybe I didn't click on it. There. You have to click on it. And I'm going to get it in there about to the size that I want. I'll try to scale it so it's about the right height, and that's about the right height. Now, I'm not sure about the thickness right now. What do we have? Let's go back to our move tool, and it's black right now. That's probably too heavy. Let's try medium. That's not bad. This font does not look bad. It's a little thinner than I'd want. Medium, maybe try bold. Bold might work okay. I still think that's a little on the narrow side, but we're going to go with it. So let's go with it, and let's flatten it. Why are we flattening it? So we could squash it. Flatten. Sometimes do it twice. Flatten. Now it's right. You want to see that box around it, and you want to see outlines around the letters. So I'm going to zoom out a little. I'll squash it. And that's pretty good. I'm glad I went a little bolder. See, there are some fine lines in there. And if you wanted a little bolder, what could you do? You could always add a little bit of a stroke. Now that's too much of a stroke. I could go like make it 0.5 or something. See if I could put in 0.5 and just put a little stroke on it. Maybe even smaller. Maybe even double click in there, 0.3, and do something like that. That doesn't look bad. Now, if we made it white, I'd have to make the fill white, and I'd have to make the stroke white. So I'll do that. So that was a way to make it a little bit thicker by putting a stroke on it. A little cheating there, but that doesn't look too bad. Actually, that looks pretty good. So we just got to find the smutty nose. So I think what I'll do is take a break here, because first video was kind of long, so we'll kind of break it up. First video was the slab. Second video was the serif, which wasn't too bad. For part 3, we'll do the smutty nose, see if we could find that script in there, and then we'll put kind of a backing on here, a yellow backing, just to get the feel of the color and everything, and see how it looks to finish up. So we'll do the script one in part 3.